Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame, and this is the recap review for Our Kind of People. I love this show. Love it, love it, love it. So, before I watched this episode, I saw a article that came up on my timeline, and it was talking about Yaya, which is the main character, the daughter of the person who passed away. And I thought it was very interesting because I didn't know this about her. Now, I don't watch any of these shows. I used to watch bits and pieces of some of these shows with my ex, but I never seen Chicago Med, and I know that for me to be as into like Grey's Anatomy and all that stuff, I should have been on top of this too, but I never was. And I'm the type of person that if it's a show like that, I want to see it from the very beginning. So since I caught it so late, I was just like, dang, man, y'all excuse my gray hairs. They be showing out. Like, they really be showing out. When I turned 30, the gray hairs tried me. Like, at first, literally, there was, like, gray hair, like, in a part in the back of my head where you couldn't see nothing, and now it's just setting it off. So I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time. For those of y'all who didn't see my other recap review before this one, I am, my hair has been prepped. I just washed my hair. I am about to test something that I found out about, and I want to see if it's going to work for me, because if it does, it's going to lessen the time that I do a certain hairstyle in the application process. So yeah, that's why I'm looking like this. It's drying and getting small, but I do have hair, y'all. I have hair. It is very much so shrinkage and all that good stuff. So I'm 1 year natural. So I don't want nobody to think I'm a bald head scallywag, ain't got no handbag. I really do. But yeah, at some point in time, I am gonna go get some T2. And I was supposed to get it last time, but I just went in there and I turned it off and didn't even realize I did it. And it's not even hot, and I ain't got time for that. I need to be boiling hot so it can do what it needs to do. Back on my alkaline stuff, and I'm getting my green tea in right now. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this episode, y'all. I am here for it. I'm so here for this show. I thoroughly enjoyed the way that this episode started out. It went over how Black people's hair, especially coming straight over from Africa, being brought over here from Africa, how it went. You were able to tell the difference between which tribes people were in by the way the hair was braided and all that stuff. At one point in time, our hair was everything. You could tell if a woman was married, that marital status, all that stuff, just by looking at the way that their hair was styled. Then colonizers came over, did what they did, and so that they would see nothing but utter confusion, they shaved our heads. So you couldn't figure out nothing. And I'm tired in my spirit. So yeah, I don't like stuff like that. Like, you mad. You mad. But it was crazy because when she was, telling this story, she showed how she was getting ready for church, and ultimately how she was getting, I think what they were doing was they were doing a beforehand, because in the next scene, she's actually in church. But at some point in time in this episode, they go to this event. So, they go to this event. I'm sorry, I was getting messages. Like, my friends be checking on me, and I love it. I love them for it. So they're going to an event later on in this episode, but they were showing the process that Leah uses, who is the entitled rich heifer, and the sister that at this moment they don't know they're sisters, that just came into the fold. And I don't know why I forgot her name all of a sudden. I don't know why I just forgot her name. That's so crazy. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna get my life right. All right, y'all, my bad. I knew I was gonna have to go get my water from boiling and all that stuff. So when I looked her name up, I was like, let me go get this water because it's gonna be done boiled out and did the most and whatever. But yeah, Angela. I don't know why I was forgetting her name, but Yaya's character's name is Angela, and her sister is Leah. And I'm just so sick and tired of her. But they were showing how it was drastically different, how they were preparing their hair for the event that we're going to see later on in this episode. Leah was sitting up there with these curlers, and she keeps her hair straight. And whenever she curls it, it is like still straight, but with curls. Leah was, her hair had texture, and it was like, looked like a pinned down mohawk of sorts, but it was twisted up. But yeah, and she put jewelry on it. Oh, it was so beautiful. So yeah, y'all, I love this episode. So like I was telling y'all earlier, we then see them at church. And I guess that unless they just don't believe, but I really feel like everybody was there who is Black in that community. There weren't that many people in that church. I side-eyed the fact that John Gray was the preacher of this church, because in real life he's trash. So yeah, I'm saying that because I used to live for him when he was not married, and he was a comedian, a Christian comedian. He was a literal 40-year-old virgin, so he says. And I thought he was hilarious. And yeah, then he got with his wife and was starting and bopping, and he got all this money. And I'm just like, you do know that these women aren't here because they think you fine and all that. They're using you for your money, but go off though. And the wife is being stupid and staying with him because the money is amazing. He has mega church. So it's like, whatever, I guess. Sorry, y'all. That really threw me for a loop when I saw him. I was like, why is John Gray on here? But go off though. So anyway, the service is finally over. And we see Lance Gross's character, Tyreek, who, of course, he lives for Angela. So people see them congregating. That woman who cannot stand her, the older lady who, turned over the reins to Leah, she was like, we got to do something about this. And I'm just like, girl, you doing the most. I don't understand why you hate somebody so much. She has not even done anything. Like, y'all are it's like y'all are starting a war. Like, if y'all had treated her right, I feel like she won't have to go to the lengths that she's about to go. It wouldn't be as bad as far as things that are coming out. I feel like if y'all would just give her just due, y'all would not have to deal with this. But y'all tried her. So prepare for whatever wrath is about to happen. So they're outside of church and they're having refreshments outside and they're having a conversation. And she's like, I need a contractor. I know you know people. I need you to give me a valid contractor who's going to do the work and not going to, basically charge my eyes out. And he was like, well, me. And I'm like, girl, you know good and well that man was going to say he was the one. He the one, girl. He the one, girl. I was like, girl, you already knew. So he was like, well, I'll come over and do what I'm going to do, whatever. So when she was done talking to her, when they were done talking to one another, she went over to talk to Leah because she saw everybody congregating, doing the most. And she took it upon herself to go talk to her. And so she was like, can I talk to you for a minute? And so she was like, I just want us to be able to do what we need to do as women. And like, this is just ridiculous. We shouldn't have to operate like this. This is crazy to me. So she was like, I'm trying to get, into that program. I'm trying to be able to benefit and go to another level. And your husband would be able to do that. And so she wasn't really trying to hear all that. But she was like, okay, I hear you, but whatever, girl. But yeah, so, Leah is just looking at her like, girl, why are you here? You're doing the most. We don't understand why you are so adamant about getting into this organization. So yeah, anyway, it's apparent that Leah feels threatened. And I'm just like, girl, that's so sad. You have all of this power, money, notoriety, and you are threatened by somebody who barely has a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Like, it's very sad, but go off though. So then we see her with her husband and they're talking, and he was like, okay, so what is it going to be? Like, what is we doing? Because you said that you were going to get my company back. And she was like, I am, now that I am over Franklin, which is her father's company, I'll be able to do what I got to do. I'm doing everything that I know how to do. Let me handle that. You ain't got to worry about that. So he was like, I'm willing to do whatever I got to do in order to get it back. So they, start kind of doing a little bit of foreplay and all that stuff. And they about to have some good old sex and things. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Do what you do. So anyway, Angela, her aunt, and her daughter Nikki are at the house. And so she's coming in, she's excited, and she's kind of stopped in her tracks because she realizes that the DNA test is returned. And she is so nervous that she asks her daughter to open it up. And of course, it says that they are related. Leah and Angela have the same father. So it is what it is. So the aunt was like, they don't prove nothing. They don't prove that the daughter was the one who covered for him and brought this operation into the way that it is and all this other stuff. So she was like, look, I got this information and I'm gonna do what I gotta do in order to get my mama's name out there. And the daughter was just like, look, this is not even why we even out here. Like, you haven't done not one thing that Mama Eve wanted since we've been here. And so she was like, I'm not even gonna scatter my mama's ashes here. I am her daughter and I'm gonna do what I want to do with her ashes, and I'm not gonna scatter them here. So the husband, I want to make sure I get his name right, Raymond Dupont, who is Leah's husband, he is talking to a business partner of his because they actually grew up together. Like, they were so close. They were like best friends. They were so close. He's white, by the way. They were so close that whenever they were in school, they would change their schedules so that they could have classes together. Like, they were close like that. But their fathers or grandfathers had a company together. And that's why they are where they are. And child, Raymond had to set it off on him. He was like, look, you already messed up one company. And, you know, I'm going to make sure that I do what I need to do. Because he's like, are you sure you're going to get the job done? He was like, you ain't got to worry about me. You the one dropped the ball with what you had going on with the company. So you ain't got to worry about me. Little does he know that ain't what it's finna be. Not in this moment. I don't know how they're going to figure it out, but it ain't going down right now. So he put him in his place. He was like, I still love you like a brother. You know, we're like brothers. And he was like, yeah, I hear you, but I had to work hard. You had white privilege on your side, so I ain't really trying to hear what you talk about. But go off though. So they are at the little meeting, whatever this society mess is that Leah was giving the reins to, and they have the prospects working on floral arrangements, and I just hate that this attitude, this better than attitude that she be having. So anyway, while she's in the middle of talking to them, her daughter comes in, and even though she doesn't have a bottle of alcohol in her hand, she has a bottle of water, which I really do hope that there's water in to help sober her up a little bit. Everybody notices what she looking like. She been out here partying and doing the most. And so her mama walked up to her and was like, you're late. And you look like you've been partying and you are obviously hungover. And so she was like, Mom, I ain't got time for this. Like, I'm tired of my spirit. And she was like, you weren't even here for, you didn't even come to church. And I'm like, girl, why would she come to church? Why? And so she was like, I don't even think, she was like, well, I just want to know if we can, you know, have dinner and, you know, spend some time together one day. And so the daughter was like, sure, but I'm not sure if you will still love me because I have some things I need to talk to you about. So she looked kind of concerned and she was like, I will always love you. Well, the heifer got sick and she had to run out the room and go throw up her guts. And her mama looked right into her phone, which was unlocked. I do not understand because almost everybody locked their phone. And she young, so that ain't make no sense to me. All she saw was pictures of her and the girl. And you could tell they obviously were an item. And I was just like, girl, bye. So she had to conduct her business in this little meeting. And she assigned one of the other women to go and drop off some flowers to her mama. Every Sunday, apparently, her mama get some flowers. And the woman was like, I'm sorry, Leah, I have to go and attend to my son because he is having riding lessons, which is pretty uppity. Like, girl, you can cancel them lessons. You ain't got to have them riding lessons, ma'am. Shoot, you can tell them people I'll be 30 minutes late. All you doing is dropping flowers off. Calm down. So anyway, oh my gosh. So when Leah ignored this heifer and walked out the room as if she didn't say nothing to her. And then Angela was like, you know what? I got you, girl. I'll do that. So she was like, oh, okay, thank you. And went on by her business. So she went to the assisted living facility that her mama lived in to deliver the flowers. This woman was under the impression that was Leah. So she was about to tell her, I'm not Leah, but then she was like, let me be quiet. So she went on the inside because she was out on the balcony. She was like, can you get me ready for, she was talking about she had some kind of tea or something to attend. She was like, can you do my hair? Can you get me ready? So she's in the middle of doing her hair, and she starts talking about how her mama, Eve, was her best friend at one point in time, and she worked for her, and she betrayed her, and how she sat up there and sold Angela for $50,000 when she was a baby, and how, you know, her husband was sloppy. And I was like, the way she talking, it seemed like she was like, well, I ain't putting out, so feel free to spread her thighs and butt cheeks if you want to, and if she'll allow it. But how you gonna say that's your best friend and you let your best friend hit? Like, no. I don't want none of my friends to be all up and through no man that I have. I don't want no, I don't understand people why people like sharing. I don't share. I don't do well with that. I didn't even like sharing toys like that. Like, I'm not sharing a man. No, ma'am. I'm not willingly sharing my man. I'm not sharing my man. No. So anyway, like, this woman has said it off. And because you could tell she's like not all the way there, because she obviously didn't even know her daughter from Angela. And she was like, yeah, and he went to Boston. I told him to leave it alone. He went to Boston, which is where she's from, to visit her and talk to the mama and the daughter and all this other stuff. Oh, Lord. She was like, it's not true. And she was talking about the arrest that happened and all this other stuff. This woman really was setting it off. She was like, I was over this organization. Yes, I know exactly what I'm talking about. She was a drug dealing con artist. Like, she said it all the way up. She was like, it's a lie. It's all lies. And then she just left. And then the woman was like, Leah, I need your help getting ready for this. Child, she went home, and like the next day she's calling places to get records of that year. She was born like March of 1985, and was like, I need information on my mom or whatever. And trying to get these people to call her back with information because she needs to know what happened to see if there's any truth to all this. And old boy, Tariq, is that his name? Yeah, Tariq is there. And he's doing his contractor thing. And he was like, oh, well, as far as the outside, you don't have anything to worry about. So she was like, well, that's good because I ain't got no money for all this extra foolishness. So that's good. I ain't got to come up off of nothing. So, yeah. Y'all excuse me, I got to drink this green tea in my life. So he ended up pulling her over, and he was trying to show her like some things or whatever as far as like the blueprints and all that stuff goes. And then he was like, go with me to dinner tonight. And so she was like, no, I have a party to attend to. And so when they were in the middle of talking, he was like, you know what? It went around the house, and he was like, you can make this into a bigger spot for you to do hair and all this other stuff. He ended up knocking part of a wall down, and then they looked inside. He was like, I think you need to look at this. Looked inside and saw like a room full of stuff, which we've seen in the like playbacks of, I guess it was a spot where the mama was at, that she just had things going on when she was at that house doing stuff before she was able to get that place, when she was just simply a maid and that was it, y'all. So yeah, she was amazed, and she was just like, oh my gosh. She went in there, she was touching all of the clothes that were in there. It was nice, luxurious clothing and all that stuff. And I was like, okay then, set it off. So yeah, later on, because Leah is very well aware of what her daughter has going on, her mama actually is about to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, right? And so her daddy showed up. She was in the middle of talking to her daughter, and she was like kind of talking in circles because she knows what's going on with her daughter. And I'm like, girl. So her daddy showed up. Leah's daddy. And so she was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, well, I just wanted to come wish you luck. And he gave her a little speech, and he was like, oh, they just want to have an interview with me, whatever. Yo. I'm like, girl, you apparently don't know your daddy very well, because I knew he had some kind of trick up his sleeve. And we see towards the end of the episode what it was. And I was like, sir, you are trash. Anyway, he tried to act like he's supportive of her, and so they taking pictures of her, whatever. Well, Leah, after the photo shoot, I guess, she and her daughter went over to Angela's place and they wanted to talk to her. And she was just like, I'm trying to figure out some things. And, you're around here and you want to make these big waves, but you realize we don't know much about you. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, girl, she already knew what it was hidden for. When she was at the Forbes situation with her daddy, she was like, I remember going to Boston with you. You used to take me all the time with you to different places business-wise, and you were in Boston. I remember seeing you at an apartment, and I was in the car, and there was a little girl that was standing on the porch shaking, and you were leaving the house. She had to be like at least 2 years younger than me. He gonna try to ignore what she said and just go on with life and just keep on talking as if she ain't say that. And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. That's your sister. And I was just trying to, end the situation, because she tried to read him and was like, you was over here thotting and bopping and cheating on my mama. So, I mean, like, what is we doing? So anyway, yeah, that part did happen. I was just like, y'all did the most. So anyway, they popped up and she was trying to read. And so she was like, ma'am, what we not finna do is this. The daughter, while she was in the middle of trying to comfort her a little bit, the daughter, she just, Yaya's character, Angela, was just like, how you doing? I heard that old girl is doing okay. And so she was like, wait a minute. Nikki's been to see her in the hospital. She was like, yeah, she goes almost every day. So she ain't even been to the hospital to see this heifer. I don't know if they told her that she need to stay away or what, but she really be going to see this girl every day. And she's like taking her back, like, what? And so her mama don't want her to be a part of the situation. And so she already pretty much told her, like, this is not going to be a good look. You're going to have to cut this out. I love you, but I don't stand for this. I don't agree with this. Child, I was just like, girl. Anyway, she ended up storming out. And so Angela was trying to tell her, like, the things that you say to her from here on out after this is going to be the determining factor as to how she's going to operate with you from here on out. Because you can't roll up on somebody and try them all because you feel differently about how they want to run their lives and how they feel. But then you're going to get mad if she said, well, Ma, I don't want nothing to do with you no more. Then you're going to be mad now. Like, calm down. Child. She ended up confronting her aunt. And she was like, did you know about this $50,000 situation? And she didn't even have to say it. She was like, you knew? How did you even know this? She was like, it was for 6 months. Your mama was so shaken up about it, she didn't even sign the papers. And so she was like, okay, so what about the money? Did she get her money back? She was like, she wanted to, but she couldn't because I had already used the $50,000 up. I had all kinds of outstanding balances and things that I needed to be squared away, and I was in trouble, so I spent the money. So she couldn't. And the only way she was going to be able to pay it back was to do what she was doing, which was being a maid. Child, I was tired of my spirit. So she really ain't trying to hear her right now because she like, you knew about the situation and all of this. Like, why would you do this to me? And you trying to act like you don't know what it is. And so she was like, I don't understand why you trying to sit up here and get amongst the Franklins. This ain't had nothing to do with your mama's last wishes and all this other stuff. So she was like, look, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Like, she basically straight up told her, girl, if you don't spread them ashes, I will. She was like, okay, I will. So, yeah. So now we are at the event. Whatever this event is that everybody done got dressed up for. And then we see Cassie Davis. I don't remember what her last name is now. I think she got married. Cassie Davis, y'all know, she is on House of Pain as the wife. She has been in so many Tyler Perry plays, other Tyler Perry TV shows, in the movies. She is usually Medea's accomplice. Like, she be in everything. But she is somebody who was out of Boston, I think, and she is somebody who was kind of being honored as well. So she's there, and so there was a ruckus when she came up and some other people, and so they're looking like, what's all this going on? Because at first everybody was taking pictures of Leah and her husband, and then they were like, what's going on here? So then they walked over there, and she was like, oh no, y'all can stay over here. I don't mind being filmed with y'all, but they were taken aback because she knew them. It's like, y'all really think that she ain't got nothing going on. She has even approached the husband and was like, I really want a chance at that organization. I really want a chance at getting to be a part of that program. I really need that. And so he was like, well, you're going to have to be on the map. And so she was like, what you mean? My business is doing well. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And he was like, you got to, create that digital footprint. You got to really be out there like that. So when that heifer was at the Forbes photo shoot, you could have bought that heifer for a penny. When she looked down at the table, the products that they were going to be using on her hair were the ones that Leah had. I'm sorry, not Leah. Angela. I was like, yes, heifer. You're going to put some respect on it, because every time you look up, you see a bottle or a container that has Eve on it. So be mad some more, heifer. So anyway, they had some amazing black talent up there performing. I was like, ooh, I ain't even going to lie. I don't know if y'all saw this or not. I forgot what they called it. But there's something that happens like every year where I think you got to pay like $5,000 to $10,000 or something like, I don't know. It's like for the kind of upper echelon kind of, but all kinds of black people are there. The woman who did the video footage for it, like, she wasn't somebody who I would deem to be like Beyonce or nobody like that. Like, she wasn't rich like that, but if you had the money, you could go. And it's like exclusive. They had all kinds of amazing performances from all these amazing black artists. I was like, everybody was in the comment section like, what is this? Where do I sign up? We didn't know that this was a thing. Food was amazing. Every time she showed a plate of food, the food looked good. I don't know what it is. If y'all know what it is, if y'all know what I'm talking about, please comment down in the comment section and say what it is. But yeah, this is what this moment reminds me of. And when I tell you the daughter's dress was everything, see, I like colors like that. I like how the colors do that. I like iridescent and all kinds of stuff like that. Holographic, colorful holographic. So I get my entire life for stuff like that. But yeah, they were there. They was both dressed down, even down to the aunt, they was dressed down. So she actually, the mama, Angela, invited the contractor dude, Tyreek, to the event. And he was going to be her date. And they were actually taking them in photographs, and they were trying to direct them, telling me, y'all need to scoot together a little bit more. Man, this man put his arm around her waist and pulled her in. I was like, wait a minute, ow! I was like, yes, Lord, somebody please do something. So anyway, now that we know what's really going on, y'all know that Raymond and Leah have a son and a daughter. The son, at the beginning of this of this season, which was the last episode, you could tell that he was feeling Nikki, the daughter. Well, the daughter knows that that's her cousin. And she was like kind of trying to tell him like, oh, well, you cool, but whatever. And then like the heifer who got drunk, the daughter, who is the sister of that dude, was trying to try her like she always does. And she proceeded to say, you ain't better than me, and we are more alike than you think we are, and you just don't know. And she was just about to say we related, and her mama rolled up and had to say, what are you doing? I was like, oh my gosh, no, whoa. So anyway, Leah's daddy got up there and did a speech and shut that heifer all the way up, because he is still the CEO and over the whole company, and she is just the second in command like she always been for however long she's been in that position. Go ahead and pick your mouth up off the floor. Pick the jaw up off the floor, heifer. Pick it up. Pick the chin up off the floor. That heifer was standing up looking like a fool. They revealed the Forbes layout, and there was a picture of both of them together. I got my entire life. So anyway, Angela was actually in the middle of a conversation. I think she was in the middle of a conversation with Tariq when she heard them announce her daddy, who is Leah's daddy, and her, Leah, about to announce something. She turned around. She was like, oh my gosh. And they kept showing flashbacks of the day when she last saw him, turned his back on her outside in the rain, looking like he contemplated and had a child in the back seat. Child. After he made his speech, he was making his rounds, and she stood there, and she, initially was like, wait a minute, I'm going to follow him. And then she, was kind of stopped by Tariq, and he was like, what's going on? You all right? Have you seen a ghost? Like, what's going on with you? So she was like, I'm so sorry. I gotta go. So she left out, we thinking to kind of chase him, but this heifer ran out to the beach and threw up into the ocean because she was just like, okay, this is too much. She was so upset and so shaken and just so nervous by the fact that her daddy was right there. She couldn't even say nothing. So much stuff that she would love to say to him, she couldn't even say nothing. Her daughter came out there and was like, oh my gosh, Mama, you okay? We're looking for you. And she, kind of confided in her and was like, it's just too much going on and whatever. Child, the husband, Leah's husband, Raymond, is tired of his spirit. So he done went off. He in the back somewhere going off on her and was like, see, this don't make no sense. I can't trust you. You said that you had this handled. And so she was like, I didn't know my daddy was doing this and whatever. Because the daddy told her, yeah, you thought you outsmarted me, but I told you I will always outsmart you and that I do this better than you. Apparently, some of the paperwork that he went over has information about the husband's company. So if she tries anything with the daddy, her husband goes down in flames too. So try it, heifer. Everybody going down. Oh my gosh. So the husband set it off and left out. Man, the bodyguard set it off and came up in there. And I was looking at him the whole time like, you a little bit too chummy for me. Okay. And it was the partner of the bodyguard. I think it was the partner, the white dude from earlier. Wait a minute. He done rolled up. He was like, you're a wonderful woman. You ain't got to worry about that. And he's just upset. Don't take it personally. Man, this man rolled up and kissed her. And as the moment was happening, the daughter came in the door. They heard the door open. They both looked. And so the daughter ran off. She chasing behind the daughter. And he looking like, okay, what's wrong with you? Because he can tell that the daughter is visibly shaken. And she was like, I just got to get out of here. There's just too much going on. She was like, baby, we'll talk about this when we get home, like rationally or whatever. Child, she can't even walk 2 steps before the police officers rolled up and was like, we about to take your daughter in because it was not an accident. The girl is awake and speaking, and she said that you pushed her off. So then she gonna try to bring Angela's daughter into it, talking about some, you saw what happened. You know I didn't do this. She was like, I actually didn't see anything, which she didn't. She heard screaming, and that heifer was already in the water, because I was like, who's screaming and why? And she was just all frantic because the girl was in the water. Child, Angela then went over to this man's house because she left Tariq high and dry. So he in the pool swimming, and it's late at night. And so she apologized and was like, I left you, so my bad. And he was like, that's really all you got to say? And so she was like, I couldn't help you. Was there anything else I needed to add? Child. He, felt some type of way. And he got out the pool and was like, what's going on? Like, are you just using this for clout, or are you into that man? And so she was like, no. Like, I saw the opportunity to talk to him. It was a great opportunity. Child. She said everything but that man is my daddy. She said, I didn't have a father. Leah had everything given to her. Found out that his daddy was killed in the line of duty by protecting him as a security guard. And he set it off and took care of him for the rest of his life. He was taking care of him. So she was like, oh, that's hilarious to me that he would take care of a son that's not even his. And she was about to say, it won't even take care of his other daughter. And she had to catch herself. Child. It seemed like he was very forgiving in the moment. And so he was like, you know what? You just have to learn how to float. And I was like, I know what y'all finna do. So he, stripped her down. Then got in the good old swimming pool, and he was allowing her to float, and she was breathing and just meditating. Then, of course, it turned into a kissing, making out session. Wouldn't surprise me if they had sex. So at the end of this, they actually did Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. Is that the name of it, y'all? I Rise, Still I Rise. I used to have to memorize stuff like that. I know one Black History program, I had to memorize that as a child. I know I had to memorize it in school. So yeah, they recited that poem, and then they released her ashes. Everybody was dressed in all white, and it was a very emotional moment, and they were crying, and it was amazing. Child, now we at the actual end of the episode. Tell me why Teddy, her daddy, done rolled up, and well, we ain't even at that part yet. We almost to the end. So the daughter rolled up. She mad and she tired. She done knocked all the chess pieces off the little board. And so he was like, get it out your system, reset, because you need to understand that, yeah, that's your sister. And, you know, because at first I had to mix up, y'all. This is in the moment where she actually had been reflecting on her. She was like, it's something about her. She had pretty much pieced it together. I don't know how. I guess it's because she was a little bit older and she remembered it, but she was just like, okay, she from Boston. I remember Boston. My mama said something about Boston at some point in time, probably. Anyway, she pieced it together and realized that the heifer was her sister. And so she was like, you had me out here looking stupid. Like, this is crazy. You always have me out here looking crazy. So he was like, look, get all that out your sister. Do what you got to do, because this heifer finna come out with all kinds of stuff. So she gonna dig up all kinds of stuff on us. You need to be ready for that. Child, the end of the episode is the aunt was at the house. And I'm thinking she is burning a picture of herself and someone, or the mama and Teddy. I don't know. But what happened at the end is making me question, is it her? This man rolled up in the house. And so, you know, she wasn't startled or nothing, because she's thinking maybe it's Leah, because the party was going on. Child, it's Teddy rolling up. And so she politely goes into a drawer and pull out a gun. She was like, really? Is that how you greet an old friend? And I'm like, what you mean, old friend? Please tell me you wasn't screwing them too. Like, what is going on here? I'm tired of everybody, all these dang secrets. But anyway, y'all, that was the episode. I'm sorry it was so long. The most be popping off on this show, and I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of the hair situations. I am all about hair. I live. If I had ever did a YouTube channel back in the day, y'all, I would have had so many subscribers, because I used to do the most, and some things that people claim to have created in recent years, I was doing for years upon years before that. But I digress. So anyway, hopefully y'all are having a wonderful day, because I plan to do so. I'm about to go in here and do this experiment, and I hope it works well for me. Y'all wish me good luck when I come back for this side heifer married man saga. Y'all gonna see what it look like. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and I will see y'all later on. Take care.